Well, it was bound to happen sooner or later. One day, a games developer will watch one of my gameplay videos and respond. I've honestly been looking forward to that day. Whether it be a positive response or a negative, I was always happy to welcome it. They also kinda did a video response, and I've always said that I'd respond to my first major video response that wasn't written by a dog rapist, and thus prompted a curiosity's sake episode on Lucky Tlhalerwa's Super Incursion. Disclaimer, I think that's how you pronounce this guy's surname. That's how Google told me anyway. Lucky Tlhalerwa is the sole developer of the itch.io game Super Incursion, an ambitious monster designed with AAA monsters in mind, such as The Last of Us. Lucky Tlhalerwa originally made a battle royale game, but found that it was somewhat rejected by popular Let's Players and pundits. Big Fry is currently the biggest name that's covered anything he's done, and he pointed out that the game looked unappealing, and the internet connection that he had at home didn't really support the hosting of a battle royale game anyway. Lucky Tlhalerwa is tragically crippled by his own ambition. He's very limited as to what he can do, but insists on aiming high. And as far as I can see, he aims far too high. I said this in my Let's Play, but he really needs to just stick to something simple, like a shooter. A Doom clone maybe like Hellhunt. Instead of learning to walk before he ran, he decided to start off with Super Incursion, a dialogue-heavy survival RPG elemented genre bomb with crafting and survival mechanics. And it really does look like such a game were it to be made by one person on a shoestring budget. I was interested in the project since it was rejected by Big Fry TV, and I felt somewhat intrigued enough to buy a copy and give it a chance. Hell, I also followed the developer diaries on YouTube to see how things were changing as the game was developed. I played a demo this time last year and wasn't impressed, but Lucky Lithuania was insistent that it was an old build and wasn't reflective of the final product in any way. Which is good because the demo gave me a headache as the sirens were annoying as fuck and it made a lot of noise. I also hated how the game felt and played at the time. It felt like something that wasn't finished. And no, I don't mean it in a beta or even an alpha sense. I mean that it looked and felt like a skeleton for something more polished to come along and be put over the top of it. I waited for the finished product and took a shot at it, as I was more than happy to give feedback based on what the game was like to play, as I wasn't sure how many people would pick this up and give it the honest feedback that I felt it deserved after so many years of development. The game looked very much like the demo. The visuals were rather untextured, and whilst that doesn't bother me so much, the visual design did. Random furniture is bigger than people, and there's grass growing out of the floor. I honestly think this is meant to be a visual effect, but it looks so bad, it looks like an accident. And the way you move makes M. Dickey games feel fluent as fuck. Text boxes pop up every 20 seconds and stop your progress. Most of them tell you very useful information like, people die when you are killed, and you're in pain, it hurts doesn't it? But apparently you can't skip through these according to the dev, as they contain very important information, like how to drink water. Talking to NPCs feels like a chore. The first two NPCs that I met had very little of value to say. The English translation is a bit of a scramble and most of the dialogue is just profanity. Now you know me, I swear like a sailor with Tourette's, and even I'm not a fan of the excessive use of expletives in this game. There was one dialogue option where my two options were fuck and shit. It was at this point that I couldn't help but ask, what's the point in the dialogue options? Do I get different outcome if I pick fuck or shit? Do I get the bad ending if I pick the wrong sweary Mary? What's the significance? I encountered an irritating bug that locked my camera in place, forcing me to stare at a wall. I reached out to the dev and he told me that I had to change the mouse sensitivity to fix it, which is a great thing to have to do the second that you start playing a game. I played the game for a fair bit and found it annoyingly tedious, picking up items with the 3-second hand grab animation and the other awkward and unnecessary animations presented to us in this game. I played it until I got outside. Bear in mind I've done about 3 playthroughs at this point and I've tried to take them all relatively seriously. I'm trying to enjoy the game here and I want to make that very clear before explaining that I gave up. I gave up because I died of thirst and the checkpoint broke and put me in a state of limbo. Forever. My save and the entire game is broken now. I'm sorry, but this is just too much bullshit for me to handle. I threw the towel in at this point and declared that I'd done with the game forever. I really wish I hadn't said that because it really did come back to bite me in the arse. So I gave up. About an hour of replaying the game from the beginning and trying to get as far into the long ass intro as I could, I quit. I wasn't going to restart the entire game again, it just didn't feel worth it. I feel like this should suffice for context, but if anybody wants to watch my original Let's Plays, you are more than welcome. Anyway, Lucky Tlhalerwa found my video and left a series of comments. I think I know the order of them, but I might have made a mistake. He did delete them very quickly after making them, so I have them in a bit of a jumble. I believe that they are in time order in this video, but please forgive me if I read one in front of a comment that was meant to come before it. This wasn't my intention. I also am going to try and read these statements as I believe they're intended to be written, as I don't want to come across as being dismissive or condescending by reading out grammatical errors. Lucky Tlhalerwa apparently speaks English as a second language, or at least that's what I've deduced, so I don't really want to come across as if I'm belittling the guy by, you know, reading out his spelling errors or anything along those lines. However, I also don't want to put words into the guy's mouth, far from it, so I'm going to do my best to read these statements properly, but as I believe he intended to write them. I discovered this video while searching my name on Google. I haven't done that in years. I wonder if I'm on the US traitor list or something. Word of advice: read tutorials. Which one? Because I was hounded with 4.3 million of the fucking things from the start of the game to the point that I said fuck this shit and gave up on it. I wouldn't mind, but half the tutorials were telling me meaningful information like people die when they are killed, and a lot more of it would have been basic shit that most people who have played a video game before would just take as standard. This game is not meant to be explored. All games can be explored. A lot of people have found interesting Easter eggs and built up a lot of the game's lore through exploring scenes. Just take a look at The Last of Us Part 2, that game you base a lot of this game on. That game offers so much in its background. Hell, this goes back to Half-Life Decay, which had an Easter egg found in a lightning effect of all things. So no, I do like to have a nosy at the environment that I've been plonked in, and I don't feel like I'm doing anything wrong by doing so. I've done that since I was around 6 years old. I usually only suffer when I don't do it. Follow the path. I followed the path, but you'll have to forgive me for getting the most out of the game that I paid for and picking up items that I may need, you know, such as money and shit, along the way. You'll have to forgive me for not speedrunning every game I ever play, especially when they cost around $10. Stop finding spots in the level to glitch through. How do I do that if I'm doing it by accident? The entire game is a giant glitch. I'm sorry, but your illusion is so thinly veiled and you're chastising me for wandering through cracks thinking that they're doorways? Also, I know that you're trying to give me advice, but don't presume to tell me what to do with a copy of my own game. I don't need someone to hit my knuckles with a ruler commanding me on how I should play my games that I paid my own money for. Press B to use third person. Best way to play the game. If first person is so bad, why did you include it? Also, I beg to differ. I played it in third person in the demo and it made me carsick. Drink one water bottle at a time. I actually drank more because my finger slipped. It's not often that happens, but when it does, it kind of annoys me. I honestly like it more when they have a cap on how many items you can consume, and when you've reached the height of its associated needs, like 100%, it just stops you from drinking anymore. It's far from a requirement in most games, but I personally prefer it being there so that I don't drink health potions after getting to 100% health, and basically wasting one by accident. Same goes to water, food items, and anything else which are scarcely in supply and I only need so much of. All the information you need is in the tutorials. Read them. You skip the ones leading to your confusion. I skim them actually, I'm a fast reader, but quite frankly, I don't feel that having the entire game's manual plastered on my screen at every opportunity is a fun time. Every time I moved an inch, something stopped me and it frustrated the fuck out of me after a bit. The tutorialization in this game is aggressive, unnecessarily so. At the very least, allow me to keep playing it whilst the tutorial is on the screen and just give me the chance to dismiss it. Stop jumping on objects and follow the path. I was trying to follow the path, but the path is a bit sketchy once you get outside of the base. If you think that was me trying to escape the game, you'd be wrong. I wandered out after taking a wrong turn. It's not a matter of what I'm doing that is wrong, it's a question of how was I able to do it to begin with, and how do we stop people from doing this in the future. This is usually why you have multiple people test your game before releasing it, as you'll notice them pick up on a lot of things that you yourself would know to avoid, or at the very least wouldn't get stuck on them because you would have never thought of them. There's an old saying, if you make something idiot-proof, nature will invent a better idiot. I'm the better idiot, and now you have to idiot-proof it again. This level takes 20 minutes on average to complete. Well, most of my extra 20 minutes was me picking up objects and waiting for an overly long animation to happen, as well as being bombarded by tutorials and dialogue that got old real fucking quick. You spent too much time looking around for no reason. I was actually collecting items and admiring the graphics and set design of the game that I paid for. I don't see an issue with that. Did you think that everyone in the universe played games exactly the same way you do at this point? Even when they are doing a video? I'm afraid that isn't the case. You're not playing the game right, in your opinion. Most of what you've said is just your preference, about running through the game, not looking at anything, and trying to speedrun this thing in 20 minutes. Also, how does it take 20 minutes to leave the starting area? Did you not think that was a bit of an issue whilst making the damn game? I will patch checkpoint 1 not working, as I was not aware of that issue, as I was able to play the entire game without encountering it. Well, I'm glad my video helped you fix that issue, but you don't seem to have taken any of my other issues into account. And you just seem to be fixing the one thing that you consider to be a problem, not the animations that take 3 seconds to do with each thing, not the pointless dialogue that mostly consists of two identical guys having the same whinge at you, not the dialogue options that force you to pick between two expletives, not the giant furniture, not the aggressive bombardment of text that tries to teach you how to play the game by molesting your frontal cortex with an encyclopedia of pointless information, and you don't seem to be concerned about the fact that players can wander out of the game's world by accident. Go where you are supposed to go and only where you are supposed to go. It's kind of hard when I know that he means well, but he comes across as a prick when he says that. I'm sorry, but you don't get to bark orders at me like I'm a Dalek or a Nazi guard. Try to hold down the shift key to sprint and run through the game. You will make fast and quick progress. So your advice on how to enjoy your game, the game that you're trying to get people to pay money for, is rush through it as quickly as possible so you'll enjoy it more. When I think about things that you enjoy more when you rush them, I think about pain, sex to secure a promotion, and Chris Boz's awful fucking book. When I think about video games I like, I don't think thoughts of, oh, let's get through that fucking shit as quick as possible, sprint through everything. If I like a game, time is no real object to me. I'll spend as much time as I need to get through the game as intimately as possible, like that Hindi game Unrest. If I'm not enjoying a game like Zapper, then I do skim my way through it, usually getting more frustrated at my constant dying. Make sure the text is read. It's vital. Is it though? Because I don't consider a small church pamphlet's worth of text telling me how to drink water to be vital. I consider it to be a massive waste of my fucking time. No wandering around. Yes, sir, staying on the path, sir. Do the objectives. Christ, is this the Stanley Parable now? Really, that's the only other game that I've ever played that has told me what to do this much. Even that didn't get as pissy when I defied it. And that was kind of the joke of the game. You played around 10 minutes of a 10-hour long game. And if the first 10 minutes was a broken mess, why would I want to see the rest of it? Also, it was more like 40 minutes to an hour. And apparently I was supposed to play 20 minutes worth of gameplay to get here. Which raises the question, if 2% of the game has been achieved and it's this, then what else do I have to look forward to? Also, if it's possible to play the game opening wrong, then what kind of tutoring will I need for the rest of the game? Do I have to play every segment twice in a row or just this bit? Take the game seriously or you start getting lost. I tried to take this game seriously, but it constantly defies me to. What am I supposed to be taking seriously here? The confusing layout, NPCs that never stop whining and swearing, the sweary dialogue options that have no consequence, the giant furniture, the grass growing out the floor, the money salads? Don't quit the game unless you've finished a whole chapter.
Yeah, Loz, I know today's your wedding day, but I need to finish this chapter of Super Incursion because the dev told me to. Yeah, I know everyone's waiting for the best man speech, but I've got to read these tutorials on how to open doors. You're just all gonna have to wait.
Play the game seriously. You're ruining your own experience. But I was. That's the problem. I've played games with skepticism before and ended up enjoying them. I offer a bit of snark for comedic effects for my Let's Plays, that's my style, but that doesn't mean I'm not enjoying the thing. Hell, if I was able to enjoy the thing, I'd be a little less snarky the further I got in. Play with it to have fun. It's a game. Games are played for fun. Well, not always, but thanks for telling me how I should be feeling whilst playing it. I don't know how any of this so far has qualified as fun, but I'll take your word for it. Press 4 on the keyboard to display compass on the ground. It'll show you where to go. Well, that's helpful. Thanks. Though it again feels like a workaround for poor level design, and I only feel like saying that because I shouldn't be getting lost on what is basically the tutorial. Now, he seems to have posted the same content in this comment, so you'll have to bear with me if I repeat any previously laid out statements, but this is just how I got them. I'm doing them in the time order as YouTube itself perceives, in case I'm somehow reading them out of order, but again, who gives a shit. You couldn't even complete the first chapter because you're wandering around for no good reason. Why do I hear this in my head as a French aristocrat? Your game is so fucked that anyone who dares to explore the landscape that you've painstakingly built over the past year or so is punished with death. Apparently observing his environments and how he made them isn't reasonable enough a reason to have a wander in his books. There's a level of pompous arrogance here, and he feels a need to correct everyone's opinion on his games. Like how he told Big Fried TV that this game is like Resident Evil and that's why he doesn't like it. Before you start saying that I prefer Ghost Recon or some shit, feel free to take a look at my website where you'll find a list of all the games I've reviewed and the order in which I like them. Notice that A, only one of them is a modern AAA game, and Injustice 2 is a fighting game, a genre which the indie sphere hasn't really done as well as other genres. B, there's games of all kinds on there. C, I've shown a favourable disposition to Matt Dickey, the video game Unrest, and the game Tether 3D, which I personally felt was unfairly glossed over and written off before anyone actually got to play it. I feel like Tether 3D is kind of undeniable proof that I can be more than willing to overlook a game's shortcomings. If I feel that the core game is good enough, Tether 3D is far from perfect. It has a number of flaws, some of which you can see just from looking at it. But I'll say this for the game. It works as intended, and the dev works to his limitations. He doesn't use them as an excuse, nor does he take them and try to outdo Cyberpunk. Your water level, which you didn't read the tutorial about, ran out as you don't read text. I don't need a fucking tutorial to tell me how hydration works. I ran out because you, for some fucking reason, made it so that you can die at 10% water volume instead of 0% because fucking shroom fairies told you to. Also, how do you die of dehydration in the space of 10 minutes? If you have a hard time in first person, use the B button to change to third person. I appreciate that tip, but I find this game a lot easier to play in first person. Thanks. In theory, I should be able to play it in either, right? I can make a video speedrunning this chapter in 20 to 30 minutes. You know your game is great when a fucking speedrun takes 20 to 30 minutes to get through the opening of the game. Jesus fucking Christ. In chapter 2 you are introduced to guns, and in chapter 3 you get to fight enemies. Actually in chapter 2 you do a lot of walking and a fucking awful jump puzzle or two. I played chapter 2 for a while and didn't even get to reach a usable firearm until the very bloody end. So you gotta learn how to dodge. I like how he's giving me instructions on how to play the game after I said I was done with it. He did the same thing with Big Fry TV as well. It's like he's trying to sell someone the rest of the menu whilst they're walking out of the restaurant because they found half a rat in their sandwich. Thankfully I'm sadomasochistic enough to want to come back here and give it another crack. As you've gone through great lengths to make me play this thing more than once, I thought I'd happily oblige. I would highly recommend that you use third person, as fighting enemies that use melee weapons in first person is hardly going to be ideal. In games like Fallout and Elder Scrolls I actually prefer melee in first person. You play like an inexperienced gamer. Motherfucker, I've been playing games since I was around 5 years old. You're like 22, right? So by the time you'd shit into your first nappy, I'd played like 100 games and I'd beaten all the ones I owned. At this point in my life, I've played at least one multi-perspective action game with RPG elements with a slow-ass start and delusions of grandeur. My experience playing games like Metal Gear, Bethesda's games, and even really linear shit like Rayman 3 is that looking around can be a good thing. A great thing even, as it's how you find Easter eggs, hidden items, and in the case of Deus Ex, you actually get multiple endings added onto the game if you bother to explore a little bit. I was kind of hoping I'd find a crack in the wall like in Stanley Parable and end up in a completely different fucking game, but sadly God wasn't on my side today. Stop wandering around and do the objectives and read the text. They're there to guide you. They might be, but they seem to be assuming that I'm a bigger fucking idiot than you've been implying that I am. So after a while I stopped listening to their bullshit because I don't need them putting me down. You fucked up your own experience. I'm sorry, but I just fucking love this quote. I need it on a t-shirt or something. I mean, I'd say you're wrong, but if the game is designed to the point that I have to be micromanaged as I play it by the developer in order to enjoy it on any level, then I guess I couldn't help but fuck up my own experience. At this point, I should really just make a full playthrough of the game. No! And then you can watch double no! And then follow the videos, fuck topple no! I didn't think that anyone would have a hard time following this game as it's so linear. Have you ever considered that you find it easy because you fucking made it? This is why people have fucking focus groups and QA testers on projects like these, so you can see what players do and adjust your game accordingly. Has anyone besides you, or I even, played this? Or play Cybernetic Titan, a free-to-play action game? I did. It's a little better than this actually. And I was a bit more positive about that game than I was about this one, at least anyway. It was a lot simpler as a concept, and it was done with considerably more competence. Although let me take a quick aside to point out that he's advertising a game to me in the comments section of the previous game he made, which I gave up on after 10 minutes because it was shit. Marketing 101, I guess. I actually had fun with Cybernetic Titan, more than I did with this game, but I apparently still played it wrong. So I figured I'd add in Lucky Tlhalerwa's response to my Let's Play of that as a fun little bonus. Who knows, maybe I'll approach it differently this time. I've reached round 28. Well, you're the dev, so I'm hardly surprised. Most devs are good at the games that they develop on account of them having made the game. This isn't the Boom Crew. I bought medkits from the store. Yeah, I couldn't find the store, and didn't have enough time to. I looted enemies and explored the map. I tried to loot enemies, in fact I did several times, but it doesn't always work. At one point I got loads of Colt 1911s listed and just couldn't take them or do anything with them, so I assumed that I couldn't carry more than one of the same weapon, and that's what it was telling me, but none of the other enemies gave me the option to loot them, or did so briefly that I overlooked it or just didn't feel like it was worth messing with because I couldn't lock onto the little tiny minuscule hit space where you can actually loot. So yeah, I tried to loot enemies, but the option wasn't very good. I explored the map. Well, you see, the thing is, I just played Super Incursion, where apparently exploring that map is like a cardinal sin, so I still had it in my head not to explore the map. I mean, first you want me to explore your games, now you don't, it's getting confusing. Snark aside though, due to the lack of time between rounds, I didn't feel like I could explore without being caught out whilst doing so. In Killing Floor, for instance, you get like 2 minutes to prepare for the next round. You can buy stuff, and the shop is actually really easily found because it's actually highlighted on the map, and you can see it from a mile away, whereas here you've just got to guess where it is. Hell, I had to guess that there even was a shop. I didn't really have much time to be running around the map trying to find things because the rounds start really quickly. I can give you a key to download the full version of the game without ads, if you're willing to learn how to play the game properly. Nah mate, you're alright, it's a survival game with rounds and a shop. It's more or less the same thing as Killing Floor, and I'd really rather play that because it has a player base and actually is all around a better game. Of course, rather than do either of those things, I'd rather move on to another game. I've been playing through Final Fantasy XIV lately, and that's good. Partly because I didn't need Yoshi P to condescendingly explain to me how to get anywhere in it. And then you can make another video, playing the game like a pro, this time knowing what you are doing. Oh my dear boy, you never want to know what you're doing. That just sucks the fun out of it. Honestly though, I don't want to inflict that on myself or my viewer base. I'm sorry, but I don't want to be your Karate Kid mastering a 2 out of 10 game. I'm sorry, I have such a small viewer base, like, I don't want to scare them all off by becoming a fucking dedicated channel to this game. That's a surefire way to lose everything. So then, in his Lucky Tlhalerwa fashion, he made another comment a few minutes later. Honestly, this guy doesn't really think things through, he just kind of flails at his keyboard, and that's why he ends up saying a lot of shit that he's going to regret, like telling Big Fry to kill himself, insisting that he doesn't like his game because he only likes noob shooters, constantly implying that I'm stupid for not being able to navigate his mess of a game, and attributing that to my skill as a gamer instead of his skill as a dev. Anything critical that I say about his game isn't properly ingested. It's like how non-nutritious parts of food come out as shit, but in his case it's the reverse and he shits out the nutrients and just takes in the stuff he wants to take in. He watches me talk about how broken his game's visuals were, the grass coming out the floor, the giant furniture, the fact that every NPC in the game looked the same, but the only thing he was willing to go away and improve was a fucking checkpoint. Anyway, after watching my blind let's play, which is a concept within itself he doesn't get, because he seems to insist that I should master a game before making a video on it, he then gives me a 6 things to know to play this game like a pro list. So, to make this even more fun for everyone, I decided to make it into a cringy top 10 video, including a cringy Dark Ninja thumbnail. Enjoy! Fuck me, here we go.
6 things to know to play this like a pro. 1.
Explore the level for the store. Press F to pay your respects, use the store. First thing you buy is medicine.
Number 2.
Hold F to loot enemies. Enemies have medkits, bandages, surgical kits, money, and ammo. If you loot enemies, you don't have to buy items from the store as much. Fuck me, it's like every round-based survival game I've ever played or something.
Number 3. Explore the map. Don't just stand in one place.
I'll be honest, this is just me being bad at this kind of game, but I just feel safer only having to watch one direction.
Number 4.
Hold 2 to use listen mode to see enemies through walls. Cool, but I was hoping to just shoot them when they walk in front of me. If I ever dig this game up again, I'll give that a whirl.
Number 5.
Press 3 to switch your firing mode to semi-auto so you don't run out of ammo as much. Running out of ammo wasn't really a problem for me, so thanks.
Number 6.
You start without medkits and have to buy them from the store. So in each map, you need to explore and find the store as fast as you possibly can. You need to buy items from the store. They are critical to your survival, especially medkits.
Number 7.
Wait, I thought this was a list of 6, why is there a 7?
Number 7.
Don't record yourself playing a game on your first time. Get used to the game first, explore it, and then record. If you're going to play Zombie Rampage, which is an open world, with this kind of thinking, you're not going to get far in it. You're learning how to play the game, then you're not getting good. I've reached round 28 in all maps. Sorry, I read that as it was written, it's really bad. Jesus, Mary and Joseph and the wee donkey. Do you hear yourself? Okay, 1, blind playthroughs are a thing and it's how I do it. I mean, the reaction's more genuine and it means that I'm not pussyfooting around the game's initial flaws. This has never been a problem for me up until now. 2, Zombie Rampage is coming out rather fast. I mean, holy shit, 3 games in a year. I'm starting to question if you really spent whatever it was you said developing Super Incursion if you can make an open world game in 6 months. But also, your games aren't a big boys club. Sorry, but even if I'm the best player your games have ever been graced with, which I think I am by default, to be honest, but I don't see anyone else playing this shit. I'm not using that as a brag, and I also don't see it as a level of progression for me. I can be bad at a game and still like it, or think it's good at the very least. I can be great at a game and still think it's bad. What you really should be doing is using my videos as a QA test, and ideally modifying the game based on shit that I didn't get, or at least taking notes of them. That way you can find ways to counter my stupidity and make the game more accessible to your customers. If I were to give out copies of your game to multiple people, I'm sure they'd all have similar problems to me. My channel has never been about me showing off how good I am at video games. I showcase games and give my opinion on them and hopefully introduce people to new games that they wouldn't otherwise know the existence of. I play games that some people wouldn't want to touch with a barge pole, and I expose bad shit when the situation calls for it. I'm not going to play every video game 100% perfectly as the dev intended. Sometimes that makes a more fun video to watch. Like, my bus simulator video wouldn't have made a fraction of the people who watch it laugh so hard if I didn't deliberately fuck up at every moment of it. I appreciate the feedback and the helpfulness you've given, however I don't appreciate you telling me how to run my channel, a channel I've run for 5 years now and I'm doing perfectly fine with. I've had more successful channels in the past, but this is the most I've ever been proud of one. I think anyone who takes a look at you and your content can tell you the following as to why you're struggling to pull in and engage players. 1. When criticised, you go on the defensive. You take it personally and you try to make the other person less competent than yourself, and you can flat out attack some people for simply telling you what you need to hear. I rewatched Big Fry's altercation with you to see if I could spot anything similar to our interactions, and quite frankly I could. Instead of taking on board any criticism that you are given, you instead tell people how to get better at the game or have more fun. They aren't interested in any of that though, as you fail to engage them even on the most basic of levels. You also seem to think that this is a great time to advertise your game's features or other games. Like anyone is going to walk away from your game with a headache and just be like, whoa, it has a bow and arrow, fucking sold. You gloss over every other point of criticism when you should be making notes on what was said. One after another, and yes, some of them are going to take a lot of work, and some of them are probably going to hurt your pride a bit, but devs that are worth their salt don't let that get in their way. They make their game better based on what was said. 2. Start small, for fuck's sake. I have said this so many times, but you've refused to even address it. You're like, I think open world games is the way forward for me. Motherfucker, your linear games are as confusing as fuck to navigate, never mind a fully functioning open world. I don't even know or want to know how that'll even run. Cybernetic Titan is your best game. It's simple, anyone can work it out. It needs improvement, but I think you could get a decent game out of it. Maybe when you've proven yourself as a dev by making more basic shit, you can afford to be more ambitious. Leonardo da Vinci didn't start off with the Mona Lisa. Dickens started out with a 50-page story. He didn't write Tales of Two Cities off the bat. Tim Schafer didn't start out with Psychonauts. I could go on forever, but you get my point. You make video games on the same level that I play them. You seemingly lack experience, resources, and self-awareness when you make them. Survival games, corridor FPS games, mission-based FPS games with less walking would be ideal for you right now. Something like Stealth Force the War on Terror will be more in line with your current skill set. That isn't an insult, really, I'm just saying that you need to tone down your ambition and work out the basics. If you're going to tackle bigger projects, you're going to need more of everything to make it work. Cash, people working on the game, expertise, which brings us nicely into our next segment. Number 3, stop doing everything yourself. Dude, outsource in the areas that you are weak on. I'd say you need an actual modeler, map maker, voice actors, and I'd get a writer on board as well. Or at the very least, have these people look over what you've done to give you valuable feedback over what you've done so you can improve it yourself. And by all means, help these people in the game making process. I'm not saying take a back seat, but leave some things to the professionals. It's what I'd do in your situation. My main talents would have been voice acting and writing, if I had to come up with some. Everything else I have limited or no experience in, which is why I don't do it myself. If you want a good example of this, I wanted a better opening for my show. The first one was boring and the second format was getting a bit repetitive for my liking. So I outsourced to Hot Frog Animations and worked out a deal to get myself a 15-second opening that was animated in a weird, wacky and kinda unique style. This cost money, but I felt it was worth it because anything I would make would pale in comparison. Also, I have found over the years that reaching out to others and taking some interest in them in your field is a great way to make contacts, learn more and just generally enjoy yourself more than you would on your own. I want to make it fundamentally clear as I close this section out that I don't have anything against Lucky T as a person. He's a little condescending and flirts with delusion. That's not really hurting anybody and I don't think he deserves hostility or vitriol. I'd like to see his story end in success, which is why I agreed to play his games. I do admire his work ethic and dedication to his projects, as flawed as they are. However, I do worry that the way he deals with critics or people outside of his immediate field of control is troubling. I feel like he's one bad day away from making a video like James Romine did when Jim Sterling played The Slaughtering Grounds. In fact, his comments came across that way, except he refrained from insulting me at all. Which, props bud, you know, like, some people don't always do that, but I wonder how much more I'd have to do to get you to be like that. I mean, that's how it was with Big Fry TV more or less, and I don't think Lucky wants to be that guy. I think he works hard on his projects and he loves it, and I respect that, but I feel like he feels that everyone who plays his game owes him. Whether it's good feedback, whether it's hours of their time on a game that's full of problems, or if it's just doing something a certain way that he demands. Nobody, whether it's me or anybody else, has to play a game the way the dev wants them to, or even play the game at all if they don't want. If I buy The Sims and just murder my household, I'm not doing what the devs envision me doing, but there's nothing wrong with that. I paid for it, it's my copy of the game, and I'll do as I damn well please. I appreciate the feedback, as I've said, but if you have to explain to Let's Players through lengthy YouTube comments how to grasp the basics of your game, then your game is the problem, not the player. I've played hundreds if not thousands of games in my time, and I can tell you now I've never had to reach out to a dev to help me play the game. Ever. So either I've been playing video games wrong for over 15 years and nobody's told me, and you are literally the only one on the planet who's noticed, or it's your game. A game that Big Fry TV, a guy who is better at video games than me and has played more video games than me, says is one of the worst things he's ever played. I wouldn't go that far, I mean Cartoon Kingdom will be forever the worst thing I've ever played, but this isn't going to be on my top 10 list, I can tell you that much. You're on the precipice of coming back one day, but it's up to you how you do so, as a Digital Homicide, Andrew Watt or Berdiev character, or as a Diamond dev who redeemed himself, like the Devoid of Shadows people, or that war game that I can't remember the name of right now. Fixing me won't make that change, only fixing you will.
I'd
to make a new character, a yellow ginger abomination in camouflage, cause, well, I have the option to, so why not take it? You'll notice that your character is always called John even if they're a lady. Like, holy shit. Also, the devs seem to have wanted to play as a female John, which is... okay. Anyway, now he looks like that yellow bastard from Sin City. I have no bloody clue what shoes he's wearing because they're covered up by the foliage at his feet, but remember guys, this game's perfect and I'm the idiot. So I started the game from the beginning and I'm instantly bombarded with super important tutorials telling me how to move.
Can anyone sympathise with me on why I don't take these tutorials seriously? I mean, from the second that I start the game, I get interrupted constantly to be told the most basic of shit. Jesus Christ.
So I got to the point that I got to before, only this time I did exactly what was told of me. I just ran through the game and didn't do anything other than 100% focus on the objective like a good little boy. I actually did little to nothing wrong before and just ended up being on the game's bad side because I mistook one bullshit path for another bullshit path. So now I'm back to where I died. I made my way to the police station, and I don't know why anything that I've done up to and including this point even exists at all. It doesn't set the scene up very well, none of the dialogue has any value, I have no idea what this world is or what I'm doing in it. I'm about as informed as someone who just got dropped into chapter 2 without being exposed to a single frame of chapter 1. You have to walk through these ruined streets, which do look like something at least, and I appreciate that, but what's with all this construction equipment just lying around in the road? Was that pre-apocalypse or post-apocalypse that happened? Oh, by the by, I hate the backpack in this game. There's a long ass animation to open it, and when you're in it, you can't get out without clicking at the center of the screen. I often forget and hit tab again to close it, and it replays the animation if you do that, which is annoying as fuck by the way. If you listen to the commentary track on this shit, I was pretty annoyed throughout this second playthrough. It's kind of funny in retrospect. You will discover more types of medicine in the future. I hope not, because this is already bullshit. I'm glad this is the case because I didn't understand how water or medicine worked. Use medicine to open bag and explore the world and rare medicines like tourniquet. Less rare medicines can be bought at the store with gold points, Meldenin points. Only become visible for players with high trading. Okay, I don't really care. I just wanna get past this. Equip this tactical bomb and throw it to blind enemies temporarily while used when necessary. Smoke bombs can be bought from the store with gold points and crafted. Oh, fuck's sake, fine, give me the fucking smoke bomb. I'm not gonna use it, I'm just gonna shoot people out. Oh. I know what a flashbang is. Wait, no I don't. I've got to read the fucking tutorial. Equip this tactical bomb and throw it to stun enemies. Temporarily use when necessary. Flashbangs can be bought from the store with gold points and crafted by gathering crafting components. Really glad I read all that because I didn't know what a fucking flashbang grenade was up until that point because I'm inexperienced and fucking stupid. I then came across these little gems, barricades of the CDC, FBI and the CIA. Don't know what shit happened here, but it must be important for those three to have to work together to sort it out. Also, the CIA, they don't operate on American soil. That's the FBI's thing. They're like the foreign FBI. If you have one, you don't need the other. Unless the virus or the terrorists or whatever are from Mexico or something. I tried to get into a nearby jeep, but it shut all of its doors on me as the ultimate fuck you. That's mean. Adrastia could have lived in that jeep. Speaking of crazy women, this bitch is still following me around and I have no idea who she is. She also just appeared out of nowhere like one of those scary mute girls in a horror movie, and she says nothing too. I won't be surprised if it turns out that she's a figment of my imagination or something. She gives me that sort of vibe. She gets separated at times, but she always finds a way back to me, unfortunately. I then passed the Super American Policia barricades, who seem to have copied the FBI's colour scheme and font. Or maybe it's the other way around, I don't know. Isn't the police meant to be blue or black? Fuck it. Wait, what the fuck? The DEA?
Wait, they were looking for people smoking meth amongst the refugees? Yeah, I think we've got bigger problems than the occasional pothead here, people.
I'm surprised they didn't send the IRS after these motherfuckers. Wait, a virus that killed everyone? So at this point, basically, I wasn't aware of what the plot was, and I thought that a comic book that I read was the backstory to this. Don't worry, we'll get to the comic book. The comic book's fucking great. The comic book takes place in a different universe according to Lucky T, who I had to reach out to make any sense of this shit. And it's more flavour material than anything else. So the Scythe monsters don't exist in this universe. You'll know what I'm talking about when I get to the comic section of the video, but still, if there's no Scythe monsters, it makes even less sense why the FBI, CIA, DEA and DMV work together to stop this shit. So a fucking terrorist made coronavirus apparently, sweeping across the world and killing everyone. So this is more like Survivors than The Last of Us now, I see. Still don't know what the fucking DEA were doing there. Laughably, you get told that the backstory will be explained to you later at the beginning of the game, like it's going to be weaved into the narrative or something. Turns out no, it's just dumped on you in a text box. By the way, virus. That's what we didn't tell you earlier, cause virus. Okay, cool. Then the in-game arrow that I'm supposed to be following trolls me and takes me out of the map. I'm gonna guess that this was my fault as well. I quickly realised this when I noticed that there's a giant wall around a house entirely made of floor texture. Jesus fucking Christ. I then come across a building full of cow clones who are all doing a bang up job of being cows. I then noticed that my idiot companion wasn't following me anymore. I guess she saw something shiny and got distracted. Or maybe she went off to devour a child's soul or something, I don't know. I tried shoving past this dipshit guard and get the choice between hello sir and good morning sir. Honestly, the choices that you have to make in this game weigh on the soul. You can genuinely see the game shape as you select dialogue choices. So I decided to tell these guys who I am and what I'm doing for a living, even though they already know that. Nobody seems to know why I'm here until they do, which is, I mean, I thought this military operation was supposed to be like clockwork. You know, like all military operations are, but apparently not. Anyway, I get clearance to walk into the kitchen. I prayed that the mission area is on the other side, but it's not, it's just more jackasses. I go up to this dude and say, "Hey, Gana Reg?" And I have to admit, the lackadaisical and casual responses kind of made me laugh in this game. You can more or less make them throughout and people just respond in the most juvenile of ways. Like, you can call some random senior officers fuckface and they flip their shit and it turns into the kill stream or something. Most of the dialogue here just devolves into a mountain of swearing. It's actually really fucking funny. Like, nobody talks like this at all, even on the edgiest adult shows and whatnot, because it comes across as juvenile as shit. The vast majority of this dialogue in this game is like a 12-year-old just discovered swearing and scrawled as much of it down on paper before his parents got home that night. I mean, I swear shitty swears like a motherfucking sailor with cunting Tourette's, and even I think this shit fuck is fucking excessive. Like, every conversation turns into that "You're a Wizard, Harry" video from like 10 years ago, except in this it's like a super serial military survival game. So it comes across as fucking jarring, and I legitimately don't know if the whole thing is meant to be a joke. Christ, this is such a disciplined military organisation, holy shit. Also, it's kind of funny, Lucky Chewbacca seems to think that the expression "taking the piss" is taking a piss. English isn't his first language from what I can tell, so it's not a complaint, I just found that cute.
By the by, if you think this dialogue is fucking insane, just wait until we get to the comic. It's brilliant, I swear to Christ.
I actually have a question. Why doesn't the game just start here? Like, why does that first part even exist? I legitimately would like to know why that first bunker part just exists, and why do I have to walk halfway across the city to get to this point when it's all pointless. Oh, red carpet treatment. You can tell by the way I do my walk. I'm a green cow man and I do my talk. Simpsons reject on the way. Oh. Officer? So then I have to explain myself to this pasty motherfucker. So I just make fun of him by picking the super wacky option. There are some wacky options and I don't really get why. I'm not complaining, you get the option to behave like a complete idiot in the game, and who the hell can complain at that? I like how you can tell this dude that you forgot who you work for, even though it's on your fucking shirt and he can see that, but he has to look it up anyway. Then I talk to the Major, since I have to talk to one motherfucker of every rank to general before I can start this mission. This dick spends about 10 minutes talking me out of a suicide mission.
I'm normally one to really value dialogue in games, but all the characters in this game feel the same, and the dialogue is very intrusive, and it feels like a waste of time to talk to NPCs. They all say the same stuff, and they all have the same personality, so what's the point?
The endless prattle going over the same shit over and over again makes me want to headbutt a coat hook as hard as I can. I hope this mission starts with a halo jump, so I can just jump out of the plane, head first, and fall to my death and die. Oh, what the fuck? I've still not registered? You know why it takes me so long to do missions? It's not me fucking about, it's this endless parade of fucking pointless dialogue. Every cunt says something. This entire segment is just me trying to fucking register, and the kicker is that I don't even need to register. I've never played a game where you actually have to register like this for a mission. Call of Duty has never done it, for example, because that would be stupid. Usually if you get shit like this in a game, it's because the really boring bit gets interrupted by something catastrophic, like enemies attacking, or you find something you're not supposed to, like the corpo origin in Cyberpunk. But no, if Cyberpunk was made with the same thought behind this game, you'd spend the opening of the corpo segment fucking plodding around the office trying to find forms to requisition a pen. Thankfully I find this kind soul who actually appreciates brevity, so I'm thankful for that. Oh, and another tutorial! Then Tard Wars 2 begins, and I have a "you're a wizard, Harry" moment with another dickbag. Finally, after more redundant dialogue, I got on the plane. Finally, I made it to the actual game. Chapter 2. Oh, it started me off with a tutorial to use fucking keys and locks.
Bitch, I wouldn't even be here if I didn't know how to unlock a door, because you need to know that to get out the first room in the game.
I love how you get this person's sad note of goodbye to the entire world, and at the bottom is just a combination to the door right in front of it. So then I get stuck at this point for bloody ages. I got stuck on a fucking jump puzzle of all things. Now you might be asking, what is the context for this being here? Search me, somehow an entire military operation, who we will see later on, since they're just waiting for us up ahead. But apparently they did this whole stupid jumping exercise instead of just building a way around it, like building a staircase or a ladder or something. From what I can tell, it's impossible to do this outside of third person. I wouldn't even try it in first, even though I prefer to jump in first person because you can see better, especially in a game where the camera can get fucked up in third person. This took me bloody ages to get around, and I can't fathom why it's even here. Half-Life has a few things like this, but it's post-catastrophe. You don't have to navigate shit like this to get a coffee in the Black Mesa Inbound chapter. Anyway, because I unfortunately have integrity, I just had to try everything, and I made it beyond the puzzle that I was stuck on, and was about to give up on the whole game over. So my reward is playing more of this train wreck. No good deed goes unpunished. I had to do a series of jump puzzles that drove me to insanity because of how little sense the puzzle even being here made. So I managed to navigate my way around carrying a syringe like a fucking mental patient. Anyway, more dinking around, jumping, pointless tutorials, intrusive dialogue and overly slow animations ensued, and by that point I was on the verge of doing something silly. Different firearms use different cartridges.
I just want to stress again, by the by, that the dev called me out for not reading tutorials. This is the shit that my dad knows, and he hasn't played a video game in his life. Yet you feel the need to constantly grind the game to a halt to establish it to me. Because this game's main objective is to insult the player's intelligence as much as possible.
Still, because I'm spiteful, I decided to read every last word of every last one of these as told like a good little boy. I now know that pistols, rifles and fucking rocket launchers all have different types of ammunition and they aren't compatible with each other. I'm glad I lost around a minute of my life having this re-established to me. Ballistic knife uses special.
Fucking what?
I also like that when you get a window pop up, your character keeps on running in a random direction. Then I get told how guns work. Great, fucking great. The weapon select is a bit weird as well. It's not what I'd expect. It's not broken at least, but they don't tell you for a bit until you've had a hold of a gun for a while how to even draw it and use it. Basically, instead of clicking on the gun like you do with all the other items in the game, you have to just have the mouse hovering over it whilst you got your backpack open. It's at this point that I find more of my own cow-suited goons and find out that the mission hasn't even started. I'm 2 hours into this game and I haven't even started the mission. What the fuck is this game? Then I find an Easter egg? A bunch of mannequins that I encountered in a room. I encountered them earlier, but this room seems to put a lot of emphasis on them, and there's some lore around here that suggests that the soldiers are fucking them. I can't help but slide my finger into its butthole.
Right, moving on.
Right, I'm out of here. Anyway, then enter a real combat zone. Finally, after more than 2 hours of fucking nothing, I get to see some action. Now, I know that Lucky Tlhalerwa is going to get annoyed at my playstyle here. I know you'll find flaw in the fact that I'm not using the Last of Us style listening system all that much, and I'm also not sneaking around either. Now, if you look at me in The Last of Us and The Last of Us 2, I'd call myself pretty damn decent. I've beaten the game on every difficulty that isn't that insane difficulty that the remaster added, cause it did my head in. Regardless, if I can beat the whole game of The Last of Us from start to finish on advanced difficulty, it stands to reason that I can beat its spiritual successor, right? Well, the problem is that this isn't The Last of Us, but it acts like it. You're in a corridor with limited cover for a start, but it gets worse than that when you take into account how stiff, clunky and awkward the controls are. Between everything having a 30-second animation, things like doors not responding to you when you click on them, and the hitbox of the little doorknob is so small that you can miss it whilst being in a hurry, and the stealth system that makes it so that you can be spotted instantly. You have a formula for one unplayable ass game. On top of that, there are stupid complicated systems that I haven't seen in any other game before. Like bleeding mechanics that cause you to slowly bleed to death, along with other stupid bullshit that's probably done in the name of realism, but then you can shoot some asshole in the head multiple times with an M16 and he can just walk it off. I gave it multiple goes, but eventually I just found the game irritating to play. When you aim, you are locked in place and can't move unless you back out of the aiming mode. If this isn't the case and you can move or whatever, then it isn't like any shooter I've ever played, because I've done everything else that I'd normally do and it's not doing anything. You're locked in place whilst aiming like you're aiming a musket in the Civil War, and you can't even move the rifle around to change where you're aiming. Also, you can only guess how accurate you'll be on the target, since the over-the-shoulder aiming is frankly pretty weird, and when I think I'm going to be aiming at a dude's head, I'm often aiming at a random wall or object behind him. By the way, the voice acting of the enemy soldiers is pretty fucking funny. I'm not gonna lie, it's the exact same shit that Cybernetic Titan has.
You didn't scare me, you motherfucking sister bastard.
Guys, over here!
No.
Guys, we've got Fucking hell! Fucking bastard!
With women who are clearly voiced by a man, and Lucky T just pitch shifting himself to voice the dudes. It sounds really funny in all honesty, especially when you combine it with him having to whisper shout to avoid waking his parents because he decided to record this shit at 3 AM, and in the 4 years that he spent developing his game, he never found time to re-record the dialogue or replace the voices with actors that he could get for free or very cheap off of the internet. If you're a dev and want people to do lines like this, I'd happily give it a whirl. I died several times at this point and my patience was wearing out. Then I got a knock at the door and it was the food that I ordered. I didn't want to be doing this shit whilst eating as I would have likely gotten a stomach ulcer. So that's where my experience with this game ends for this review. I did say I was done with this game forever before and I ended up going back on my word, so I won't say it again. I'm not sure if I'll play more of it for a stream at some point or if I get bored enough to try and let's play it further, but I can't get back to where I was doing the rest of chapter 2 and I'd rather saw my own arm off than do all of it all over again just to reach the point where I quit. To be fair, Lucky Tlhalerwa did say don't quit halfway through a chapter, but I don't know how he expects people to not do that when shit like food comes into play. Really, as a dev, he should put checkpoints into the game where when you quit you can come back to the game at that point, instead of, you know, expecting all players to spend hours on the game uninterrupted. Honestly, I've told you how to make this game better for yourself, Lucky T. I won't repeat myself since I'm worried I've done that at several points throughout this video. The legitimate criticism is there, get out your notepad and take some notes. Honestly, the last time I said anything to him about what I thought about the game, he just started rambling on and on about open world. Because yes, that's what will fix this, making it a bigger, more complicated, convoluted mess. Seriously, dude, just do something simple. Cybernetic Titan is the best thing you can make, given that it's a survival game. It's not innovative or groundbreaking, but it's solid enough and could be better with some fixes made based on player feedback. Though at this point, I won't be holding my breath. So, I honestly didn't know where to put this segment. I was going to put it in the beginning or during chapter 2, but I couldn't make it fit and make the video flow naturally. It really depended on whether or not the comic fit in the Incursion universe, so I asked Lucky T himself, and he said it was a parallel universe, where the president didn't die and there were scythe monsters instead of a deadly virus that kills everyone, Survivor style. The comic has several of the same characters as Incursion, including one that I met in this very video, which is what led to my confusion overall, but it turns out that this is some injustice shit and I like the originality of there being scythe monsters instead of something boring and cliche like zombies. This comic is free to read online and I would highly recommend anyone to give it a once over, because this is one of the best fucking things I've ever read in my life, and I'm going to be doing a dramatic voiceover for the whole thing, for those of you who don't like reading or whatever. I'll also be keeping a counter for all the times somebody swears in this thing. Anyway, this, ladies and gents, is Street of Fear. Apparently this whole thing happens on one street. Probably in Canada. 12th of January 2045, Gemstone Island. Crystalville City, Okinawa District, resuming time.
Guys, run! The creatures are coming!
I like how he's telling them this despite being the last one in the group of people running away. It's also an ill omen that his own severed head is at his feet. Served the guy right though, as he stopped to write sex on the floor, seemingly deeming that more valuable than his life.
He was correct, of course, it was.
Oh shit, motherfucker, stab me! Hey guys, why the actual fuck isn't the government sending any more forces? Where's the police? Those motherfuckers have stranded us.
God, graffiti artists in this parallel universe are super imaginative. They just run around scrolling fucking sex on every surface they can find, like it's a high school textbook.
Why didn't they send in the bloody military? What the fuck is going on? People are dying here. That motherfucking President Lincoln Johnson is taking the fucking piss all over us. We're gonna have to save our own asses. Motherfuckers ain't gonna do nothing, man. Those sons of bitches. Shit, guys, in there, run in there. We might be able to lose them and hopefully live. God save us. God damn it, they got David. He's dead. Oh, he's fucking dead. I can't believe it. How can this be fucking true?
That cannot be true.
Guys, come here. It's secure. We've got guns. We're holding off the creatures. Run, hurry.
Oh shit, this is our only hope. Let's go. Come on, Drake, let's go. Maybe we'll live. Lee Chang, you're falling behind. You need to pick up the pace.
Fuck, I'm tired, I'm exhausted, shit. I'm so fucked. I'm so dead. Sadly, Lee Cheng didn't notice the helpful graffiti behind him, which could have saved his life. Also, how's he talking with a fucking blade for his entire head? It's literally destroyed his brain.
We need to get the fuck out of here, shit. We just lost Lee. How the fuck can this be happening? Go on, we'll hold these motherfuckers off. Careful, dude. Rawr.
Die, you sons of bitches.
Die, motherfucker. Ah, fuck. My lungs. I can't breathe. Fuck. Fuck you all bastards. Fuck every single one of you assholes. God save us.
Oh.
My testes, my penis, my sperms, my sperm duct, my scrotum, my rectum, my anus.
I love how happy he looks here, as well as how specific his cries are and how quick he's able to list all the things in his wasteland that got destroyed by Big Bird's scythe here. Also, I think our rogue graffiti artist has run out of words. He's starting to repeat himself.
Fall back, they're too dangerous, they're gonna kill us all. Fuck, this one is bulletproof. It's deflected bullets. Run. I can't feel my bloody spleen and pancreas.
Rawr. I can't feel my penis, my anus. Barricade the motherfucking door, goddammit.
Fuck, this one is bulletproof. It's deflected bullets.
This raincoat's waterproof. It's not absorbing water.
I can't feel my bloody spleen and pancreas.
Hi, Doc. Yeah, I can't feel my spleen and pancreas. Apparently that's not normal. Yeah? Yeah, a comic book told me. It's about scythe men killing everyone and taking over the hello? Hello? Oh shit, they blocked my number again.
I love the faces that the monsters make. They're really, I don't know, stupid. They also go rawr, so I guess they're also mentally 5 years old. I personally find the art style to be charming in its dodginess. I'd be lying if I called it good, because it looks like the kind of shit I draw in my notebook when I'm bored, but it's got a certain amount of charm to its shittiness. I can at least tell what everything is supposed to be, and in the end, that's all I can really ask for. The writing, on the other hand, is funny as it is. I don't think it tells much of a story. It's just violence and swearing, which is fun, don't get me wrong, but I don't feel like it's quite the tone that Lucky T wants it to be. It's more like a Birdemic type situation.
Get away from that door. There's a creature behind it. You're about to die.
Go away from the what now? How does he not know that, and why not just do as he says?
Oh god, Timpson, you're about to witness death. Watch out. Get the fuck away from that door.
I'm in danger.
He died as he lived. Stupidly.
Jesus! We are dropping one by one. These creatures are homicidal, but they don't seem to be attacking each other.
Motherfucker literally chose death. Very heroic of him to block that door. Never underestimate these creatures.
I like how they're treating this as a selfless act of sacrifice when the dumb shit just got himself killed by the monster Dilbert character here, just by sitting in front of the door not doing anything.
Over 15,000 people have died in Crystalville. You're a SWAT member. What happened to the police and army?
Bitch, you don't know. Damn. We got deployed to the southeast of the city to contain the situation.
So, apparently him being a SWAT team member means he's supposed to know the complete inner workings of the police and the army. I mean, he might know more than most civvies, don't get me wrong, but he's far from the top of chain of command.
When we got there, we found multiple creatures killing innocent people. We were ordered by Police Captain John McAuliffe to open fire and apply deadly force. We did, and we managed to kill half of them. We were overrun. They killed 80% of us. We which is 80 armed personnel. It's like nothing we've seen before.
I'm Donald Smith, and I lost my motherfucking brother Mitchell Smith. I told my parents to evacuate to the north of the city and take the train to the Royal District, which is where the Gemstone Palace is located. I went on my own to look for my brother, and I found him dead, murdered. The only thing I managed to salvage, Mitchell's mutilated body, is his cell phone. Very sad. I loved him. Never wanted to see something like this happen to him. We live in a very dark world. I guess that's why motherfuckers say life is short. He sustained multiple stabs to his torso. His neck was slashed.
80% of us is 80 armed personnel.
I'm glad the army deployed in round-figured platoons. It made the casualties a lot easier to calculate.
In this part of the story, you actually get some more serious dialogue. And this is kind of what I mean with the tone. Up until this point, I thought it was meant to be a comedy, but I legitimately think Lucky T wants us to see a tragedy in this whole thing. And it is somewhat breakneck. Also, by now, characters have sworn 41 times. We're only on page 3. The swearing, like in Super Incursion, doesn't feel very natural, and it makes it almost seem comedic in its avalanche approach.
I had a motherfucking AK-47, you know? An automatic Kalashnikov 1947 with EO Tech holographic sight, and I couldn't motherfucking stop them. Some of them are fucking impenetrable, it's crazy. I don't even know where they come from.
Well, I'm glad they found time to masturbate over the guns that they're using as they talk about this travesty.
Greetings, Donald Smith. Nice to meet you. You need a bloody gun, otherwise they're gonna totally rip your fucking ass apart. Don't engage the black ones, they're impenetrable.
Yes. Nice to meet you, Corporal Who?
Call me fucking Corporal Jason McGregor. Now let's roll. We need to get to the police station. We are gathering people there and protecting them. We will arm up and resupply there. There's guns.
So, Jason McGregor is the angriest of the two from what I can tell. Admittedly, they have such similar personalities, there might as well not even be two of them, and the rest of the people just whine about their injuries in great detail. That's more or less all of the characters summed up, assuming that they're not just flip-flopping personalities to fit the situation.
Now, let's perform a motherfucking body count. How many the fuck are we? 1,
2,
3, 4, 5. I think you mean head count, body count is something else. I also like how it takes 5 of them to count to 5. Only 2 of which are and ever will be properly established.
fuck. God damn it, we've been breached. Time to run.
it's time to motherfucking go. Out to the parking lot. Go down that hallway.
Okay, let's roll.
Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the devolution of man.
My arm? Leave that bitch ass arm behind and keep running. Better to be alive than dead.
Dang, keep out. Who wrote that sign? Ned Flanders? I love this guy and his arm, it's one of my favourite things in the comic. I mean, we already have a guy lose a quarter of his fucking body mass, and he's told to just get over it and keep moving. I mean, he has some points about it better being alive and whatnot, even if he did phrase it horribly, but I can't help but find it amusing how little anyone gives a fuck about this poor guy. There's a difference between tough love and chastising someone for being in pain after being horribly maimed.
Get to that motherfucking elevator now. It's open. This is your only chance now. Donald, press the button. Close the door. Hasta la vista, you crazy motherfuckers. Whoa-ho. Bye, bitches.
Hasta la vista. I like how he stops to throw a really long taunt at a bunch of monsters that don't understand him at all.
Elevator takes them down to underground parking lot.
Looks like they're having a rave up there.
Hold the fuck up. Let me check the perimeter for hostiles. Okay, it's clear. Move up and enter the motor vehicle.
Well, that was pointless.
Okay, we are ready. Where do we go?
Drive to the local police station.
We're making progress. Hopefully we arrive soon. I'm really looking forward to meeting some survivors.
I hope those motherfuckers motherfuckers managed to sustain it running. There was a pretty bad breach. Me and my squad evacuated the station. Maybe those motherfuckers ended up getting overpowered.
Jesus, me arm. Me fucking arm. Me motherfucking arm.
Can you shut the motherfucker up? Huh? Don't be a little bitch, you little pussy. I don't give a single motherfucker about whatever the fuck you're going through. You need to shut the fuckity fuck up. Your big shitty fucking mouth is gonna give away our bloody position to the creatures. You're gonna get us killed. Shut up before I break your jaw, motherfucker.
I just love how this guy's had no medical treatment for what could be a mortal injury, and he must be in unimaginable anguish, and these guys are treating him like he's crying over a paper cut. It's fucking hilarious.
I'm gonna kill this motherfucker if he doesn't fucking listen to me.
We then cut to the Crystalville police station, where our favourite graffiti artist confirms that he's alive and well after he hasn't been seen for a few pages. Thank God, I thought this world's Banksy had been lost to the violence and the chaos. Sex. It's like he's 12 and wrote it on a dare. Like, what's the quickest sweary Mary I can write without getting caught so that the big boys like me but the grown-ups don't catch me doing it and I don't get into trouble off mum?
We've arrived.
Let's motherfucking go. Whoa! Freedom. Let's clear this place.
Yeah, let's hope it's fucking safe. Death is around every corner. There was a fierce battle. Many spent cartridges on the ground. Okay, we're in. Let's find medicine, food, water, guns, and ammo. I found a bulletproof vest and some gloves. Here are some meds, medikit, and bandages.
Hey look, a fishing rod. I can go catch some fish. Oh look, a stove. We can cook it.
Found some food, Jason. Jason, I found an AK-47. I got a beast.
I got a fish.
Looks good. I got some seaweed.
Good.
We've got a motherfucking plethora of semi-auto and fully automatic pistols. M1911, Scorpion, USP-45, and more. I've hit the jackpot.
Can be, iced tea, and bean.
Well shit, these boys are set for life.
Also, we finally have some sex appeal. No, not the only lady seen in this story, I'm talking about the guns, yeah.
Hey, Donald. Here's a shoulder-mounted radio.
Thanks, Jason.
Donald? Jason? Riley is slowly dying. Right now. He barely even fucking has any bloody energy to move his body. We need to do something.
How can we help him, Jason?
We can't. End of discussion. He's gonna slow us down. Too bad he's injured. We don't even have the tools to close his wound. Let that bitch-ass motherfucker die. We don't have the tools or motherfucking expertise to help him. Fuck him. I don't have time for his bullshit.
Serves him right, I guess. Dying of blood loss, he should have grown out of that years ago. By the way, I wasn't kidding, they never gave a shit about this guy living or dying. In fact, they don't seem to care about anyone but each other, sort of.
We've got a pipe bomb. I didn't even know the police made pipe bombs.
They don't.
What the fuck?
Again, why do these creatures always take the form of Dilbert characters? Also, I legit can't tell what part of his face is his mouth here. These lips protruding or the seemingly gritted teeth on his cheek.
Look at this bitch-ass peek in the window, Donald. I think it's the right time to motherfucking leave.
Guys, they're coming in. I need help. I'm gonna die. Ah!
I do love that this guy makes no effort to get away from his pursuer, and instead just bends his arm in the most disgusting way possible. I guess he does have a decent defense mechanism by turning himself into a Simpsons character, but sadly it doesn't work against black praetors. Oh wow, we even managed to get some irony in there. You know, with the t-shirt and such.
Run and seal the doorway. We can't kill this motherfucker with bullets. We should try something else. What about that pipe bomb, Donald? Hand me that bomb.
Shut the door. Block the door with the chair.
Guys, I need help. Don't lock me in with the creature. Help! Donald!
Where'd this guy come from? Why wasn't he with the others? Why does he look so stupid, and what happened to his pelvis? I know these guys are civvies, but I'm hardly surprised that 90% of the world is dead if this is how everyone reacts to seeing the monsters.
We need to get in there and save his ass.
Don't be too foolish and so ignorant. We'll be dead in matter of seconds. So dead. Terribly dead. We are no match for that thing. We need to use this motherfucking time to get the fuck off of this station. So soon as fucking possible.
Guys, help!
See? That's him, screaming. He's already dead. Survival of the fittest, Donald. You gotta think on your feet.
Yeah, death is around every corner. Let's hurry. When it's done with him, we're next. So our heroes heroically leave this guy to die, but thankfully the guy with no pelvis leaves the world in the most dignified way possible. Ah!
Me balls and sperms.
How will I make children?
Okay, we're out.
There's an armored vehicle we can use.
Get it. Fast.
Donald, you drive, I'll man the turret. Isaac, you'll navigate the map. Go, go, go. Ready, set, go.
I can see a motherfucker up ahead.
Him, kill him. We need to send to hell as many of these motherfuckers as possible.
Like, is that what we're calling the monsters now? Or is a motherfucker a special kind of scythe monster, like a hunter or boomer or tank from Left 4 Dead?
Time to die, you sick bastard. This is the end, you son of a bitch. Die, motherfucker. Ram the gate with him. Die, motherfucker.
Go to hell, you bitch-ass motherfucker. Whoa!
Taste death, bitch ass. Okay, now we drive to the train station where we'll take a train to the Royal District, where everyone is gathering.
Yeah, because I'm sure that trains are going to be running in the middle of the apocalypse.
Let me turn on the radio. Isaac, you're gonna have to navigate us to the train station.
Okay, Donald, it's 1 kilometer away near Palm Hall.
Nationwide broadcast, all civilians are authorized to use deadly force. National Army and National Police have been engaged. This is President Johnson Lincoln. To every civilian group up at the Royal District, there are not a lot of us left alive.
President Johnson Lincoln. I like to think he's President Keemstar from Hunt Down the Freeman. That would explain a lot.
We will do our very best to ensure we fight and destroy these creatures. We will try to rescue as many civilians as humanly possible. We will have this situation under control. Comply with our national forces and we will help you and save you. Do not under any circumstance open fire at our assets. They will kill you. Transmission end.
Well, that seems reasonable enough. So they navigate the Ghostbusters NES game until they encounter more scythe monsters.
You cheeky bastards. Die. Die, 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 death, 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 die.
You cheeky bastards. If that doesn't go down in one line of history, then there is no God.
Yeah, baby, woohoo!
We're here. We've arrived. Come on, let's go. It's getting very late in the day. We gotta be there before it gets pitch dark outside. We're not gonna be able to see at night outside properly.
Get your shit together. You can never let your guard down in a world like this.
Yes, of course. Okay, I'm reloading. Gotta go fast. Gotta go fast. Guys, keep your eyes peeled. Might be enemies up ahead.
I guess I was wrong. This is a Sonic prequel, not an Incursion prequel. My mistake.
Damn. Place looks abandoned, there's no one.
Of course. Nobody wants to die.
Or maybe most have already evacuated. Okay, look around.
Sorry, I didn't really notice until I read that aloud. That is like the most fucked bit of dialogue in the whole comic. Like, I've had a few issues, like there are so many times where I've flubbed because the writing in this is so broken. Let's find a tram to get out of here. There's none this side. Let's keep searching. But so far, we're had some luck with us. Huh? What the fuck is this? Better be joking. Look out behind you. Multiple hostiles. Open fire! Open fire! Jason! Isaac! Apply deadly force on all visible hostiles. Apply deadly force with carrots, apparently.
Donald, watch out! You're gonna die, step back! Donald, no! God damn it! Die, motherfucker!
Save the Earth. Good one. I like how Jason is finally showing a tiny bit of human empathy because his equally psychotic boyfriend has gotten a boo-boo. If losing an arm is a triviality, then having your wrist impaled must be like... I don't even know. An insect bites of this asshole.
Right between the eyes, bitch! Woohoo, motherfuckers!
He's like a 5-year-old with guns and a comprehensive grasp of every swear word in the English language.
My left forearm is messed up. Gotta mend it. Disinfecting with alcohol. I originally, with some friends, found the green alcohol funny, but apparently absinthe is often green, and that shit has pretty high purity, so it would make good disinfectant. So it shows what I know. Apply bandage.
Are you okay, Donald?
Yes, I've met myself. Let's keep going. Jason, Isaac, let's roll. Oh look, we've got an author cameo. Nod, reference, whatever you want to call it. Does he run the Incursion military service in this universe? I like to think so. Maybe he was kind enough to give me a job there. I see the tram. Up ahead. Everyone get in.
Yeah, before we die. Place is crawling with these things.
The door is open. Get in. This is our only way out of here. Our only chance. I've activated the tram. Yeah, we made it. I can't believe it worked. We are on our way to safety and freedom. I told my parents, Richard Smith and Elizabeth Smith, to go to the Royal District. I'm hoping to meet them when we arrive. My parents are dead. I told my wife to go there. My sister was in trouble. I had to go save her, but we got separated. Yeah, I told my parents, Mohammed Curious and Tamana Curious, to watch this video, but they told me to fuck off. By the by, this bald guy has only just become a character of any significance in the last few panels. Before this, he was just one of these nameless, faceless muppets. Man, it was scary as hell. I lost my best friend, Marcus McCann. Jesus, they ripped his skull apart. Blood and brains split everywhere. I had to step on his brains to get out of the room. And run, man. I saw total hell.
I lost my motherfucking team. Talk about that. My wife is dead. Alexis McGregor. The only person who's alive is my motherfucking son, John McGregor. Unbelievable bullshittery right here. The world has turned into a worse place for everyone. We are all grieving. This is bullshit.
I hope my parents are dead, because my brother is dead. I never got a fucking chance to bury him.
The end of the first book. To be continued. Donald Smith, who has lost his brother, and Jason McGregor, who has lost his wife, and his police SWAT team try to get out of Crystalville City to take safety as the city gets taken control by a lethal, homicidal army of deadly creatures.
So ends the first book of Lucky Tlhalerwa's Street of Fear, which quite honestly is a pleasure to read. I mean, it has a few flaws up its arse. Kinda like this guy has a big spike up his, but I find this very enjoyable in a who killed Captain Alex kind of way. It has a lot of effort put into it, even if the talent behind it can't really match. And I can't say that the visuals are boring or disinteresting. I'm legitimately looking forward to a part 2 of this thing, and right now I'd love to give it some of the treatment that I gave this one. We now leave the world of Lucky Tlhalerwa's Super Incursion, a world I'd very much like to revisit sometime. I'd be lying if I said that these games were good, and that they didn't cause me frustration, as they have done quite a fair bit, a great deal of frustration in fact, but I really do appreciate Lucky T's work ethic and his drive to make good quality content. I feel that Lucky T could be loved by me as M. Dickey is, and I mean that sincerely. I just feel that he needs to take criticism on board and learn to deal with it in a better way. It's not easy, and I don't have the best track record of dealing with criticism. I've responded in ways that I'm not 100% happy with, even if those situations turned out okay. I'd be more than happy to give future projects a chance, provided that what I say in this video is taken on board from here on out. Well, this episode was exhausting to make. The script alone took about 3 weeks, it's 60 pages long and features over 12,000 words. So I hope to God it was worth it. Hopefully you can join me next time where I can tackle something that I don't have to write as much about. Till next time, I'm gonna fucking rest my throat because I threw it out reading that comic. Toodles.
To make a wrong turn, it just requires guidance from above. We don't need to have this conflict. 'Cause I can take you to the place of delight. Give peace of mind to the whole world. Don't sleep.
Ah, my testes, my penis, my sperms, my sperm duct, my scrotum, my rectum, my anus.
My testes, my penis, my sperms, my sperm duct, my scrotum, my rectum, my anus. I can't feel my penis and my anus. Death is around every corner.
Welche Kirche bei Brüchen.